You tell yourself you'll stop. You promise this time will be different. But then 2 days, maybe a week later, you're back into that bad habit. Scrolling for hours, skipping salah, wasting time, doing things you regret. You feel guilty, frustrated, stuck. Like no matter what you do, you can't escape the cycle. But here's the truth. It's not about willpower. It's not about trying harder. So what's really keeping you trapped? There's a real reason you keep falling back into these bad habits time and time again. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how to finally break free from it. Let's get into this, inshallah. Most people try to fight bad habits by forcing themselves to stop. But that's like cutting the branches of a tree while the roots are still underground. Bad habits don't start with action, they start in the mind. If you still see yourself as someone who struggles, you will always fall back. The Prophet ﷺ says, indeed, actions are by intentions. So if you want to change your actions, first you have to change how you see yourself. Instead of saying, I'm trying to quit, say, I'm the kind of person who doesn't do this. Your identity has to change before your habits do. And your habits then reinforce that identity. It's a whole loop that you have to go through, but it starts off with that identity. You can't escape bad habits if you stay in the same environment that triggers them. So, if you're always surrounded by distractions, it's no surprise you will fall back. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu says, sit with those who remind you of Allah, because your surroundings shape your habits. Identify one thing in your environment that triggers the habit and remove or replace it today. Most people think that they need to feel ready to change, but motivation comes and goes. So if you rely on it, you will always struggle with consistency. The Prophet ﷺ built systems for worship, set prayer times, daily routines, structured discipline. So instead of waiting to feel motivated, you need to build a system that makes good habits automatic. Replace motivation with a fixed daily routine for new habits. If you're struggling with salah, set an alarm and pray immediately. If you're addicted to your phone, put it in another room during deep work. When your environment and schedule support you, you won't have to fight yourself every day. As long as your bad habit is an easy option, you will keep falling back. Most people fail because their bad habit is too easy to access. Think about it. If your phone is always near you, you will end up picking it up and scrolling away. If you have junk food in your cabinets, in your kitchen, you will end up eating it eventually. You wouldn't want it to go to waste. So the solution isn't just willpower, it's making the bad habit harder to do. Create friction. Make your bad habit very hard to access. If you're addicted to social media, delete the app or use website blockers. If you know you waste time at night, put your phone across the room before going to bed. When your bad habit takes effort, you're way less likely to fall into it. You can't just delete a bad habit, by the way. You have to replace it. That's why people who quit addictions, you don't replace them, end up feeling empty and falling back to it. Every time you feel the urge to do the bad habit, immediately switch to a positive action. If you want to scroll, do dhikr instead. If you feel stressed, do some push-ups or journal. Journaling is a it's a powerful habit to implement. If you're tempted to skip salah or delay it, stand up and pray immediately. Say astaghfirullah and quickly stand up and pray. And astaghfirullah, like like if you are tempted to skip salah, just quickly do it and get it out of the way. It's not the greatest mindset to just quickly brush off salah and get out of the way. But as long as you've done the salah, you've done the salah at the end of the day. Eventually you end up loving the salah. But quickly do it and get it out of the way for now. I know it sounds crazy. When it comes to avoiding bad habits, you have to make sure you don't be harsh on yourself. Messing up isn't the problem. Giving up because of one mistake is. But shaitan tricks you into thinking you failed again, so what's the point? You might as well continue doing it for a period of time. That's his biggest trap, because one mistake doesn't ruin your progress. Giving up does. If you slip, don't dwell on it. Just reset immediately and move forward. Your goal isn't perfection. I mean, think about it. If you've been dealing with a particular bad habit, no one actually expects you to go cold turkey. You're going to slip up. It's natural. It's progress. The goal isn't perfection. It's progress. Every habit is either pulling you closer to Allah or dragging you away. Bad habits doesn't just affect your daily life. They affect your heart, your salah, your connection with Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, when a person sins, a black dot is placed in his heart. Too many dots, and your heart becomes blocked. Tie your habits to your deen. Remind yourself why it's affecting you spiritually. No one breaks bad habits alone. You need to rely on Allah's help. Even the Prophet ﷺ, who had the strongest discipline, made dua for protection from laziness and weakness. So why do we think we can do this without Allah? After every salah, make sure you make a dua to Allah, asking Him for your help for whatever habit you're currently going through. Make it a habit to ask Allah for help after every salah. The strongest people have a purpose bigger than their desires. But if you don't know why you're quitting, it's easy to give up when it gets hard. Write down 3 reasons why you need to change. Keep them where you can see them daily, even if it's a screensaver or you have like a journal where you can read the front page, whatever it is. When you have a clear why, you'll stay committed no matter what. You're not stuck because you feel weak, by the way. You're stuck because you don't have the right system. So if you want to finally break free from these bad habits, you have to ensure you change your mindset, you change your environment, and you constantly seek Allah's help. If you do this, inshallah, by the permission of Allah, you will break bad habits time and time again until you don't have any.